Welp, it's finally happened. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's character roster is complete.
Maybe it'll get a couple new spirits here and there, but overall, Ultimate's a done deal. So, what's left to do now? Examine the game as a whole and move on? Nah. Right now, let's talk about a new Smash Bros. Already, baby!
Before carving into the meat of this video, let me first say that Masahiro Sakurai, the series creator and director for over 20 years, has not had the opportunity to work on a project outside of the series in a whole decade. I'm not entirely sure whether or not it's even pertinent to the conversation of this video to ponder whether the next entry in the series will be directed by Sakurai or not, but regardless of if it's him or some new director, the Smash Bros. Series should take a nice, long break now that Ultimate is done. And Sakurai should be allowed to do whatever he most wants before coming back to Smash if he even ever wants to. Side note, the script was written and some of the lines recorded before Sakurai's last Famitsu column came out where he touched upon his future with the series. So if that part of the conversation interests you, I'll link the article in the description, but for the purposes of this video, let's move on. Obviously, Super Smash Bros. Is one of Nintendo's most popular and lucrative series, and no Nintendo home console has been without one since its conception on the N64. So naturally, a new one will be made eventually, but eventually, in this case, I think, should refer to something like 5 or more years, or, like the middle of Nintendo's next system's shelf life. With that being said, however, bear in mind that I'm referring to a new entry in the series. It is entirely possible, and I'm not the first one to suggest this, that Nintendo will one day release a sort of deluxe version of Smash Ultimate. Let's call it Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Finale Edition. That's got a nice ring to it. This hypothetical re-release might include all the game's DLC right out of the box, and if Nintendo are willing to go the extra mile, could also bring some additional improvements. Most preferably a better online system, and just as a selfish pick for me, descriptions for the spirits, and as something of an outlandish ask, cutscenes and additional story content in World of Light. And this, of course, is all assuming that a re-release is even possible. The amount of agreements, contracts, licenses, etc. with all sorts of different companies are extraneous in Smash Ultimate. So it may not even be feasible, let alone possible, to re-release it, but you never know, it could have been drawn up in the contracts they signed initially. Anyhow, even aside from hypothetically re-releasing Ultimate, what's to stop Nintendo from one day re-releasing multiple old Smash games in a sort of All-Stars type package? Sure, there's really not been any kind of precedent set for this, and honestly, I think Nintendo's older games should just all be made available on the eShop no fuss. But I suppose it could be argued that implementing online play for 64, Melee, and Brawl — yes, I know Brawl had online, but it stunk worse than any online Nintendo's ever done, and that's really saying something — would be something of a resource-heavy development endeavor that demands more fanfare than simple eShop and/or NSO re-releases.
Are you ever going to get to the topic of a new Smash game, or are you just going to talk about re-releases for the whole video? Don't get smart with me, Fingy. I'm not just talking about a new Smash for this video. I'm exploring the options of where the franchise on the whole might go for its next release. And this topic extends from new games, to re-releases, to even spin-offs. Speaking of which...
Smash Bros. Spin-offs. We've never really had one before, have we? Surely the Super Smash Bros. Brand, or even just the appeal of having Mario, Pikachu, and other Nintendo mascots fully featured in one game, are more than enough to carry the series' historically good sales into genres outside of platform fighting. And now that Smash has hit something of a wall with Ultimate, at least in terms of one-upping itself on the hype scale, reinterpreting the series in a new genre might just be the smartest thing they can do for the next game sporting the Smash Bros. Moniker. Question is, what sort of game should this inaugural spin-off be? One possibility that most, myself included, have proposed before is a kart racer in the vein of Mario Kart. There's probably been millions of people to suggest this idea, but hey, that probably just means that it is indeed a $1 million idea. I myself have fooled around with concepts in my head before about how it would be as a game, and I think I'll hold off on sharing those ideas for now. Someday later I'll make a separate video dedicated to exploring that concept. Still and all, while a Smash Bros. Kart racer would be a fun idea with lots of creative and sales potential, I think what might be a slightly more obvious choice for a spin-off that maybe doesn't sound quite as appealing would be a mobile gacha game. Believe me folks, I myself am no fan of this type of quote-unquote game. I've played a couple in my time, like Marvel Contest of Champions, Sega Heroes, Digimon Arise, Dr. Mario World. But for every gacha game I've ever played, I've not once paid actual money for anything within them, and I've always hit a wall where it seems impossible to progress without doing so. Or at the very least, the game gets boring, and I realize that there's no end in sight, and the gameplay loop is just a self-serving and unrewarding trog. That being said, mobile games make buku bucks. This idea is practically free money for Nintendo. And Mario Kart Tour has shown that they have no shame when it comes to fully embracing the worst of monetization practices within these kind of games. And as if this idea couldn't sound any less appealing, a lot of mobile gacha games, including Nintendo's own Dragalia Lost, tend to have really weird crossover events. Smash Bros. Itself is a crossover game in concept, and if the spirit of that is put on a mobile platform without Sakurai's supervision, it is entirely likely that the integrity of Smash Bros.' video game crossoverness could be compromised. Like, there's a Final Fantasy mobile game out there somewhere that had a crossover with Ariana Grande. Look at the kind of crossovers Nintendo did in Super Mario Maker 1 and Mario Kart 8 and tell me they aren't above doing the same thing. Ooh, I hope I haven't cursed the timeline and willed this into existence just by talking about it. Anyway, let's move on now to another potential spin-off that Nintendo's been doing quite a lot of as of late, and would fit Smash Bros. Like a dream, a Musou by Koei Tecmo. In other words, a Warriors game. We've had Hyrule Warriors, we've had Fire Emblem Warriors, we've had another Hyrule Warriors that focus specifically on Breath of the Wild. Why not do Smash Bros. Warriors too? Those Warrior devs at Koei Tecmo do a great job creating movesets. I, for one, think the ones in the first Hyrule Warriors are spot on for every character. I have total faith they could make similarly good ones for a Smash Bros. Cast of characters as well. Not to mention, such a game would need a big cast of enemies to swarm the maps and be slaughtered by our heroes. Whether they'd be armies of Koopas, Waddle Dees, and Moblins, or armies of Smash original enemies like Primids, Polygons, and Alloys, or a mix of both. It'd be a blast to smash them in the Musou style. And perhaps most exciting of all, the story of Hyrule Warriors 1 was insane. The fan service was off the charts. I'd die to see a similar sequence of events given to a Subspace Emissary-esque story featuring a multitude of Nintendo characters and worlds. Okay, I've only got one more significant spin-off idea worth mentioning, but I don't think it's a particularly good one. That being a Smash Bros. Party game. Whether it's like Mario Party, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, or some other third thing, Smash Bros. Could go in this direction with the express intention of appealing more to the casual crowd. The problem with this idea? Smash Bros. Is already kind of a party game. It's extremely popular at parties, in fact. Or at least it was in my friend circles. Going this route would be kinda lame, not gonna lie. But I guess it would be slightly interesting to see what properties they pull from to create minigames and boards or whatever.
Alright, we've covered potential re-releases, we've covered potential spin-offs. Let's finally talk about what you all came to see, a subversion joke.
The big question concerning a brand new mainline Smash Bros. Game is what direction should it take? I couldn't count how many times I've seen and heard people online ask, how can they top Ultimate? And I think the obvious answer to this question is, they don't. Side note yet again, Sakurai has echoed as much in that last Famitsu column that I have linked in the description that I mentioned earlier. Seems that even the creator of Smash Bros. Himself is confident in saying that the next game's roster will probably disappoint a lot of people. At least in terms of cutting characters, if I were to hazard a guess. I've heard some people propose that Ultimate should become a game as a service that you pay yearly for that adds characters and other content indefinitely, but I really don't think that's the type of thing Nintendo wants to do with their games. And if ever they do arrive at a point that they do want to do something like that, it'll likely be years upon years, if not like decades in the future, man. Nah, for my money, the next mainline Smash game should look to the past and rediscover its roots while still feeling like an advancement of the series in a way. Kinda like Breath of the Wild, or Mario Odyssey, or Metroid Dread, and so many other games made in the Switch era. Granted, this hypothetical new game would be part of the next era after the Switch era, but you get what I mean. It's that, design philosophy. The way I see it, the next game should re-examine the entire roster. Re-examine how moves are executed, to an extent, don't try and fix what ain't broke. And bring more love to the extra modes in a way similar to how Brawl handled it. It honestly feels like that aspect in particular has only been in decline since Smash 4.
But that's not what you care about, is it? You just care about who's on the roster, don't you? Well, I can't say I blame you. I'm kind of the same way.
So what would the roster of the next mainline Smash game look like? At this point in time, it is literally too soon to tell. At least on the level of who's likely to be added or cut, But aside from the particulars, I do think there are 3 types of rosters that could apply to how the lineup could end up looking. The first is one I'm nicknaming the Iterate roster, which would see assets mainly being reused from Ultimate, with some characters cut and some characters added. The trend of fan favorites and third-party fighters being the priority would carry over from Ultimate. Though it should be noted that a lot of characters would be cut for reasons that we wouldn't know at this point. Like I said before, literally too soon to tell. This outcome is probably the least appealing to me personally, but would be par for the course for the Smash fandom on the whole. The second option is one I'm nicknaming the Soft Reboot roster. This would see all third-party characters cut without impunity, and various other characters cut for the sake of trimming the fat, to put it brazenly. The newcomers would all be significant first-party characters in some respect or another, and all represent some aspect of Nintendo. Whether it be that they're from a notable series, or that they've got strong history with the company, or even that they've just got a unique playstyle. This would be the type of roster I'd personally love the most. Especially if it includes a Custom-Robo character, an additional F-Zero character or two, diversifies the Fire Emblem representation, dumps the idea of Flavor of the Week Pokemon, and sorts the All-Star Mode matches by debut console. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. The third and final type of roster I could see it end up looking like is one I'm nicknaming the Neo roster. Whoa. This would be a complete upheaval of Smash rosters past. The number of characters may end up being less than Smash 4 or even Brawl. Characters would be cut without impunity in general. Even up to now permanent fixtures like Jigglypuff wouldn't be spared from this purge. Third parties would likely be kept, but under the stipulation that the companies play ball and the characters themselves are quote-unquote hype. This scenario would most likely appeal to a Smash game that totally reinvents itself. Maybe even starting to resemble some other type of fighting game like Marvel vs. Capcom or Tekken or something. This outcome would definitely be the most interesting, but would also likely be the most controversial. I guess all in all, there's all sorts of possibilities for where the Smash franchise might take us next. And it's quite likely that we won't know where for a good long time. And you know what? That's okay. The journey's been real fun up to now, and Ultimate has given us a lot of Smash Bros. Content to chew on for a long while. Not to mention those of us with the games and systems to play them on are surely enjoying revisiting the past entries too. Take your time, Nintendo and/or Sakurai. We'll wait patiently and content with what we have now and look respectfully forward to whatever comes next, whenever it comes next.
At some point in the future, I will likely make dedicated videos to some of the concepts lightly touched upon in this video, like who to cut from Ultimate, how to do a Smash cart, building the next Smash Games roster, and probably more. But for now, thank you for watching this video. We've covered a lot today, and I'd like to hear what you think about it. When do you expect we will see a new Smash game? Will it be a mainline title, a spin-off, or a re-release? Which would you prefer? Who do you want to join the next game's roster? What type of roster would you most prefer? The Iterate type, Soft Reboot type, or Neo type? And just to see who stuck around for this long in the video, which Smash fighter who wears gloves is your favorite? If you can't think of an answer, just say Master Hand. He doesn't wear anything else. Alright, that's all. Roll the end slate already! Thanks again for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And if you've got the funds for it, join my Patreon. My patrons are on screen right now. Probably wouldn't have this video out during this busy time in my life if it wasn't for their generosity. I'm actually recording this end slate in a gas station. Well, not in my car, at the gas station. At 11 p.m. I want to go to bed. See you next time I see you.